All right, so in front of you, you should see this packet of stuff. That in a minute here, but I want to tell you kind of where this work has come from. Going back to when I was in the classroom, middle school science, looking at the evidence outcomes, it was very clear that there was different opportunities to use technology. In fact, for example, the seventh grade evidence outcome right here, it specifically says use technology um, to meet that standard. For our June Tech Institute last year, Holly and I started putting together some ideas on how to support these evidence outcomes that are tech-based. And in doing so, we realized that there are a lot of tech-dependent evidence outcomes, but there's also some other types as well. And so we kind of developed these three categories. The first one is high tech, like the one we just saw there, where you need to be using technology to meet that standard. Another one is no tech, and what we mean by that is that if a teacher were to use technology to teach that lesson, it might get in the way, and the teacher would have a hard time truly assessing what that evidence outcome is asking for. Um, and then the third category, this one's kind of a gray area. This one's called low tech, and that really is dependent on kind of the context of the teacher and the classroom and what's available to them. There are many instances where something is a low tech standard, and a teacher with a good skill set with technology could really enhance their lesson. But at the same time, there's a lot of great teachers that have been teaching without technology, um, and they can meet that evidence outcome very easily and meet it really well without using technology. We've got some more examples of it that I'll show you here. So I'm at this table right here now. This is for secondary 6 through 12, and just to kind of show you how this is working here. Um, each of these are evidence outcomes in each of these boxes, and you can see here I've got the grade that it's being taught in, the standard, the GLE, and then the evidence outcome, and in some cases down to the I level. And you can see here I've kind of went through some different content areas, and I've found some no tech, low tech, and high tech examples for no tech. Um, for example, this language arts standard right here, I felt like just in reading that if a teacher were try to use technology, that and it might get in the way of that evidence outcome. Jumping up to the high tech level now, you can see, let's go back to 10th grade language arts. Again, right here it spells out pretty clearly that they need to be using technology. So I can see that there. Again, here this is math. Again, using technology. It's pretty clear in these ones that you have to be implementing technology. All right, now the tricky segment that we found was this low tech category. And again, low tech is kind of in the middle, and technology can either enhance this lesson, or if it's used improperly or poorly, it can actually detract from that lesson. So um, let's just take a look real quick at this math one right here. 7th grade, standard 2. It's talking about graphing the solution set. Well, there's plenty of teachers that can do a graph paper with color pencils, and it can turn out really well. Some other teachers that are skilled with graphing software like Excel or Sheets or something like that, they can put together a really good graph using the technology. It just depends on what's available to that teacher, what the teacher's comfortable with, and what they're just kind of what they're doing in their classroom. A couple more observations that I made as I was kind of going through and making these two tables. And you can read that there. In science, it's very easy. It's very clear where the evidence outcomes fall, whether it's no tech, low tech, or high tech. Math, there's more opportunities in the secondary grades. It was pretty tricky to find some explicit high tech evidence outcomes in the elementary grades. Social studies, it was really hard to find any no tech or high tech. A lot of it fell into that low tech category, that middle level, where it could go either way. Reading, writing, and communicating, I did see a handful of opportunities where tech would get in the way. For example, spell check. If a teacher's trying to assess the student's spelling, spell check is obviously going to prevent the teacher from accurately assessing that evidence outcome. So a couple of observations there. And again, I think a lot of the work for the technology and choosing to use technology is going to happen in this middle level right here. Again, these two categories, high tech and low tech, not too worried about those because it's spelling it out pretty clearly what they should be doing with it. This middle level though, this is where we can do a lot of support. And one tool that we would want to use, if you on the back page of your packet, you should see this TPACK model. And now I actually have a 2-minute clip from a teacher that explains how to use
Here's
this.
TPACK in 2 minutes. For more information, visit tpack.org. So first we have to ask, what is it? Well, TPACK is a framework that combines 3 knowledge areas: our technological knowledge, content knowledge, and our pedagogical knowledge. And it looks at how they work together to increase student motivation and to make the content more accessible to students. We look at the content as the what. It's the subject matter we're teaching, like ecology, music, algebra, health, geometry, or art history, to name a few. Then we look at our pedagogical knowledge. It's the how. Every teacher has tools, so let's put them to use. Are we going to be using direct instruction? Will this be inquiry-based, group discussions? How are we going to make the content more accessible by the way we present it to our students? Then we look at selecting the appropriate technology because it's the partner. What tool will we select to make the content more accessible to the students while supporting the pedagogical strategy which we've identified will help to deliver this information to students? We must identify those support features to really help us use technology to reach our outcome. As we understand them individually, we can start to see overlaps. Our TP knowledge allows us to understand how we're making the content more accessible. Our TC knowledge allows us to identify the affordances of pairing the appropriate technology to the content. And our PC knowledge allows us to identify the affordances of pairing the appropriate pedagogical strategies with the content. TPACK comes from the overlapping in that center spot, or as we refer to it as the sweet spot, when all 3 knowledge areas work together. It's crucial to remember that surrounding this is the context. That's you and your students. This may look differently when you walk into classrooms because at the heart of TPACK is meeting students' needs.
So picture now a academic coach sitting down with a group of teachers to do some planning, and the question of technology use comes up. And an academic coach now could use this lens of no tech, low tech, and high tech to identify times when they should not be using technology in no tech instances, and they should also find opportunities where they should be using technology. And they can identify it that way. Now that low tech, again, that's where it gets a little tricky, is because it's hard to tell, should I use it or shouldn't I use it? That's where we're envisioning this TPACK model really being supportive for coaches and teachers when they can have that conversation of, does this technology help? Do I feel comfortable in the context using technology here? Is that going to enhance the lesson? In some instances, yes, it's a great opportunity to work in some technology. And in a lot of cases too, it might be, the conversation might be something like, maybe we shouldn't use technology. Maybe we should pull it back a little bit, so we're not kind of clouding up these other 2 pieces. And so that's what we're looking for in plannings, and that's where Holly and I can also be supportive in that aspect, is that we can come in and kind of share our expertise in this technological piece, and how can that push into the other 2 pieces, and how can we make this sweet spot attainable for all of our teachers and coaches.